Kundalini is one of the most misunderstood and confusing topics in spirituality, often seen as mysterious or even dangerous. It is an energy that many people fear because they do not understand it, and with many other people misusing it. In this video, I want to clear this confusion. We'll break down what Kundalini really is, its deep purpose, the structure of a Kundalini awakening, and address some of the most common misconceptions around this powerful force. Before we get into what Kundalini is, I want to touch upon its origins, especially within the Hindu and yogic traditions. While the exact origins of Kundalini Yoga is unknown, it is widely understood that this science of awakening dates back over 5,000 years. And it's not just found in yogic traditions, but across many cultures. We can see depictions of serpents or dragons rising along the spine, often culminating in an opening or illumination at the crown of the head. In the Indian tradition, Kundalini is often explained through the sacred story of Shakti and Shiva, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Shakti is the feminine force of creation. It is the power that gives life to the universe and dwells within it. In the myth, the gods call upon Shakti to incarnate into the world as a woman in order to awaken Shiva, her divine counterpart, who has fallen into a deep yogic trance atop Mount Kailash. Without her feminine counterpart, Shiva cannot act in the world. In Hindu philosophy, the masculine gods represent the absolute, Brahman, pure consciousness, while the feminine represent manifestation, the dynamic force that moves through space and time. Shakti agrees to help, but makes a condition. She will only enter the world if she is honored and seen as the divine goddess she truly is. If the world continues to dishonor the feminine, she promises to leave immediately, knowing the time is not yet ripe for her full manifestation. The gods agree, and so she incarnates as Sati. She grows up and eventually unites with Shiva, drawing him out of his trance and back into the world. But over time, the world fails to uphold its promise. Shakti, like many women, is dishonored, treated as property and objectified by men. In response, she awakens her inner fire, leaves her earthly body, and vows never to return until humanity is ready to revere the feminine. Yet, before leaving, she makes a sacred promise to the gods. She will hide herself within all human beings, coiled at the base of the spine, in the Muladhara chakra, and in those who truly honor the goddess and awaken their inner awareness, she will rise again, leading them upward into divine union with Shiva at the crown. This myth is how the ancient Indians understood the phenomena of Kundalini. So what is Kundalini? Well, it's the transformative aspect of life force, or prana or chi. It lies dormant at the base of the spine, coiled 3.5 times around the root chakra, like a sleeping serpent. This is the divine feminine force, pure creative potential, waiting to be awakened. Through spiritual effort such as yoga, meditation, or deep inner work, Kundalini begins to stir. As it awakens, this energy rises up the spine, activating and purifying each chakra along its path, like a serpent uncoiling and ascending toward this crown. This energy also has a lot to do with the sexual energy, as the feminine energy is the creative energy, and so sexual energy is the creative energy in the body, with the masculine energy being that of the mind and destruction or division. So the process of a Kundalini awakening is when our sexual energy begins to be drawn up the spine to the crown. On the physical level, this energy is drawn up through processes such as the cerebral spinal fluid and is used for neurobiological upgrade of the system, in which the body can now retain more energy and a higher frequency level, as the end goal of a Kundalini awakening is that one opens the heart chakra fully, entering a new state of consciousness referred to by many names such as fourth density consciousness, Christ consciousness, and enlightenment. Kundalini awakening process begins to happen once we begin to use the sexual energy for a different purpose. This is what practices like Tantra Yoga and Qigong are all about, utilizing the sexual energy for spiritual ascension. when we only use sexual energy for personal gratification, we do not leave much of it for the Kundalini, for the spiritual evolution. As this sexual energy is the modality in which our energies use for spiritual evolution. This system is an evolutionary mechanism that the universe has put in place to determine when someone is ready to evolve to the next level of consciousness. As if someone is still using their sexual energy purely for personal gratification and the physical plane, this being is clearly in the third density consciousness and not ready to move forward. It is similar to how we see animals use their sexual energy compared to us. We see it as very animalistic behavior. But in the same manner, higher conscious beings such as fourth density look at third density beings using sexual energy to constantly gratify feelings like lust to be animalistic or primitive. As there is nothing wrong with it, as this is part of nature, just a lower level of consciousness playing its part. So once someone starts to preserve and treat sexual energy as sacred and utilizing it for spiritual processes, then the Kundalini awakens and begins the transformation and starts moving up the spine. As the goal of the transformation of Kundalini is to awaken the light body of the fourth ray of the heart chakra, one becomes in full connection to oneness and love. As someone who has this awakening is just in awe and love with the universe, just like one who is influenced by MDMA or ecstasy. They cannot be anything but loving, and so one who has fully awakened the Kundalini cannot be anything but enlightened. In this way, this is the highest possible achievement of a human lifetime, for it symbolizes a spiritual transformation so dramatic that the entire mind and body and nervous system are forced to evolve and make room for the fourth density light. Nature and the universe always incentivizes evolution, so it is the ecstasy and bliss of a Kundalini awakening being the incentive for mankind to pursue spiritual evolution, in the same way that the orgasm is an incentive for reproduction. The orgasm is like a tiny fraction of the experience of the full Kundalini power, giving one great incentive to pursue spiritual evolution. But to get to those levels of bliss, one must go through the inner purification of the Kundalini fire, as this transformation needs to remove the unneeded third density consciousness within us, every blockage, every distortion, and everything that impedes the path. This fiery snake will burn through any blockages one by one, which will then be expressed. This is why managed improperly, some Kundalini awakenings can be very painful and difficult. All unfinished business can come up at once due to the fire mercilessly burning through the system not yet healed. Now that we have a general understanding of what Kundalini is, let's talk about different types of awakenings one can experience. First, there is this rare case called spontaneous Kundalini awakening. This is when the energy suddenly blasts through the system, often without any prior spiritual practice. While it may sound like a blessing, it can be deeply destabilizing. The force of the energy burns through karma, blockages, and stored distortions, and all of these need to be expressed. This release can show up as extreme emotion or mental states, from intense depression and anxiety to symptoms that resemble bipolar disorder or even schizophrenia. Without proper guidance or grounding, it can be very confusing and painful. Next, we have partial awakenings, where Kundalini rises, sometimes even reaching the crown, but it doesn't fully pierce or break the cosmic egg. This can create a sense of confusion. People may feel bursts of energy, heightened intuition, or even spiritual ecstasy, and think they have had a full awakening, when in reality, it is the preparation stage. This confusion often comes from not knowing the difference between Kundalini and other types of energy in the body, such as the many layers of Chi and Prana. Just because someone activates their third eye or has mystical experience doesn't necessarily mean they've had a full Kundalini awakening. These are beautiful signs of progress, but not the final stage. A full Kundalini awakening is beyond doubt. It is unmistakable, yet paradoxically impossible to fully describe. Entire texts have been written trying to explain it, and yet words fall short. Some people may not experience these classical symptoms like kriya, visions, or intense heat, but still undergo a full awakening. because the journey is uniquely tailored to each soul. No two awakenings will look exactly the same. The energy of the Kundalini resides in the energetic body, referred to as the subtle body, as this energetic system that exists along our physical body. The key component of Kundalini awakening resides in the layers of bodies that correlates with the chakras and nadis. As the Kundalini travels up the energetic spine of the central nadi called the Sushumna, along with rising up the adjacent and snake-like pattern nadis of Ida and Pingala. As nadis are the highways for energy to flow. These three are the most central and significant nadis, especially for these transformation. Along these nadis lies the 7 central chakras, which are located at the point in which the nadis interact. Throughout a Kundalini awakening, this fire energy rises from the root chakra at the base of the spine up towards the crown, burning through any blockages and distortions in these chakras. As people going through this will feel as if the energy will rise up to a certain point and then settle back down, as there is not enough clearance for this energy to continue rising. Another key aspect of the Kundalini rising system is of Granthis, as these are energetic knots that must be transcended for the energy to continue flowing upward. And this is where many people feel that this energy is getting stuck at. The first knot is the Brahma Granthi, the knot of the earth plane, located between the root chakra and the sacral chakra, and sometimes associated with the navel area. What it represents is the attachment to the physical plane and its association with the root and sacral chakra. As it may feel like the fear of letting go, resistance to change, and clinging to comfort and control. To transcend, one must release fear-based survival patterns and begin to trust in the flow of life. The second knot is the Vishnu Granthi, the knot of the emotional ego, located around the heart chakra, bridging the lower and upper chakras. As this knot represents emotional attachments, ego identity, spiritual pride, and a need for validation or personal power. Associated with the heart and solar plexus chakra, this can feel like blocked love, emotionally overwhelmed, dependency, or attachment to roles and relationships. So to transcend, the heart must open fully, not just to love others, but to embody unconditional love, compassion, and surrender. The third knot is the Rudra Granthi, the knot of the mind and separation. Located around the third eye chakra and sometimes extending towards the crown, this knot represents the attachment to thoughts, duality, spiritual knowledge, and the illusion of the separate self. This can be felt through confusion, the spiritual ego, and ability to surrender to the formless or to dissolve into unity. To transcend, one must go beyond mind and merge into pure awareness, where all sense of separateness dissolves. Kundalini pierces each Granthi. A powerful shift occurs, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This is why Kundalini is not just about energy rising, it's about letting go of identity so you can remember who you truly are. Another key attribute to a Kundalini system is what is referred to as the cosmic egg. This cosmic egg symbolizes the energetic shell or boundary that surrounds the subtle body. A membrane of sort that contains your individual sense of self, identity, and karma. As this egg is what maintains the illusion of separation, the boundaries between you and the infinite. During a permanent Kundalini awakening, as energy rises through the chakras and eventually reaches the crown, it does not stop there. For a full awakening to occur, the Kundalini must pierce the crown and shatter the cosmic egg. A moment sometimes described as breaking through the veil or cracking the shell of illusion. This event marks the dissolution of duality, the sense of separate self collapse, and what emerges is pure unity consciousness. As this is the moment where Shakti merges with Shiva, and the awakening has concluded. The sensation can feel like light in the body that starts slowly turning on, starting from the crown, like an egg yolk full of Novocaine. It's fully covering the whole nervous system slowly, until it's fully activated the whole light body. After this cosmic egg break, it can take time for people to neutralize as there is a lot of energy now pouring through the system. Until the body and mind adjust to this, it can be disorienting. Another part of the Kundalini system is the nectar cycle, which deals with the Amrita, the divine nectar. As the Kundalini begins to reach the head, some of the energy will drip back into the throat and is swallowed, further transforming the nervous system throughout the body. While there are many signs that could point to a Kundalini awakening, not all are guaranteed. The most common is the energetic phenomena of feeling the energy moving up the spine, feeling of heat, tingling, and electricity. This feeling can move in a snake-like pattern due to the rising of the Ida and Pingala. And when it gets to the head, people can hear buzzing in the body, as well as the energy in the brain feeling more like smooth, cooler lava. The surge of the Kundalini can also come in waves that can feel overwhelming, euphoric, or intense. And as it burns through distortions, activation of energies can occur. Furthermore, during great release, the body can have a lot of somatic releases, which is like an involuntary movement and shaking of the physical body due to the energetic release. Mentally, many will start to become deeply intuitive, as this helps one guide the Kundalini in a safer manner when followed. As during this process, the ego is dissolving, which can lead to a questioning of who you are and a complete personality shift. People who are ungrounded can start to detach from normal reality. And furthermore, enhanced perception can start to form, such as clairvoyance in other cities. Since karma, traumas, and other distortions are being burned through and need to be expressed, extreme mood swings can happen as well, as old traumas resurfacing, but as well as a deep compassion and empathy as the heart is being fully activated. Along with the cities, due to chakra activations, mystical experiences will start to occur. With astral traveling, lucid dreaming, and other cities can begin to occur. The connection to the inner guides and higher intelligence can begin to form, and the illusion of time begins to fade away. During the cosmic egg break, many times do people get sent into a deep channeling state, usually communing with the divine feminine, whether it be Shiva or Mother Earth, and you will be able to feel the petals of the crown chakra start to open. There is another symptom that is called the inner conjunction, which people may mistaken to be either the beginning or the end of a Kundalini awakening, but just another sign of energy clearing, as it will feel like a subtle energy lightning bolt strikes your whole spine. This can cause an awakening of deeper perceptions, and this can occur during a release of an energetic knot. Other physical symptoms can be body heat and chills, especially in the spine, crown, and palms, sleep disturbance, change in digestion or appetite with long periods of fasting or strong food preferences, pressure around the third eye, crown, and temples, and the changing in breathing patterns as it shifts into the breathless state. Due to this dramatic change, one's lifestyle and personality may change, as one loses interest in materialism, gains new passion and gifts, like healing, art, energy work, and intuitive abilities, as well as a strong desire for solitude and nature, the increased amount of synchronicities, and a service-oriented mindset. While this upgrade ends up at pure connection to unity consciousness, during the process, it can very drastically depend on many aspects such as karma, past lives, identity, and practices. For some, the experience can be fully ecstatic and blissful, with rare occasions called die-offs. These happen due to identification of the ego. As the Kundalini burns through distortion, it can feel at times of dying off of yourself due to the attachment of the ego. This is where the term dark night of the soul can occur, as for many people there will be a time in which deep depression may occur. As this is part of the hero's journey, traveling through hell to come back stronger and further understanding themselves. Alright, now to understand the Kundalini system, one must think abstract, as this is a metaphysical phenomena. While it may appear during the Kundalini awakening that it is a linear process, it is far from it, as the energy of Kundalini is always running. Just many people are choosing to use the energy for lower vibrational activities. But in truth, the energy system is constantly running. While the awakening will expand the potential of this energy, it is false to believe that it is not fully running. That being said, to understand this more in depth, you must look at all systems of the life force of the body to comprehend. Furthermore, this ties close to the understanding of healing is not linear, and more accurately, spiraling, as the rising of Kundalini will feel at times that you are not expanding and moving upwards. but the system is still being activated and the awakening is occurring. The linearity comes from the mind, during the point to help ground oneself as well as act as a distraction, as this non-dual experience can be very confusing until it's complete. When looking at the subtle energy system of the body, it can be divided infinitely, but to further understand what the Kundalini is, I want to explain a few concepts about the life force of the body. In yogic tradition, it's called prana, and in traditional Chinese practices, it's called qi. And while there is many other names for this system can be further split into 5 distinct energy systems. The lowest density of this energy can be called jing, or ojas. This subtle energy is associated with the earth and water element, as it is the structure in which fire, qi or tejas, flows through. With that energy, when utilized and transmuted into higher vibrations, will become shin or prana, which is associated with the air element and deals with the mental. Then there's the 4th energy of the Tao or pure consciousness, which is the Akasha element. Kundalini is a separate energy but very interconnected to this system. As these all deal with life energy, Kundalini is more specific about sexual energy and transformation, as it is the Kundalini energy that allows for transformation, as even after the awakening, the Kundalini energy is still running, and it is the system that feeds the other energies as a self-feeding loop. This would be the true 4th energy, the energy of the green ray and 4th density. While many spiritual traditions may not have a system as detailed as Kundalini Yoga, the experience of Kundalini awakening and the phenomena that comes with it are found across cultures. For example, Saint Teresa, a Christian mystic, described a profound inner experience that mirrors the stage of Kundalini awakening. She spoke of visions of divine light, the sensation of energy moving through the body, and even describing seeing subtle energy centers and a flame rising up the spine, aligning closely with the yoga descriptions of the light body, nadis, and chakras. Another well-known case is Gopi Krishna, who had a spontaneous Kundalini awakening that radically transformed his life. Without preparation or guidance, he was thrusted into a heightened state of awareness that he initially struggled to control. He went on to write extensively about this experience, offering a bridge between Eastern wisdom and modern understanding. And we can look at other types of stories that describe this energy, such as channeled works from Ra in the Law of One, or Quo, which describe this energy of Kundalini in various ways as the way for activating the 4th ray body, or the heart chakra's energy. Furthermore, on this concept of Kundalini in other cultures and modern spirituality, there's a theory that this system of transformation is in all living things, and each major cycle of transformation upgrades the consciousness. While it may not all be the same for every aspect of life, like it's not for every person, this transformation energy lies within us all. Looking at the story of the Garden of Eden, it was a snake that persuaded Adam and Eve to become self-aware, moving from potentially 2nd density to 3rd density. While there is a bunch more I can say about the Kundalini, ultimately it is such a metaphysical experience in which it differs per every case that these generalizations may only act as a guideline or even further confusion if you expect it to be like any of these examples. But it is clear to me that anyone who had a full Kundalini awakening is fully awake, and vice versa, as this is the mode in which transformation can happen at the physical and subtle levels. As anyone who has reached the state of permanent connection to the divine will understand that all the contractions was part of the plan they signed up for. This is why I think it's unreasonable to be scared of the Kundalini, as this is a trick of the ego. But using wisdom, we can allow this transformation to go effortlessly and smoothly. That's it for today's video. Like, subscribe, leave any comments or questions, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace! Do you ever feel lost? Confused about who you are, why you're here, and what your true purpose is? Do you feel disconnected, lacking the purpose, direction, or energy to do what you truly want in life? I know that feeling well because I lived it, but through that confusion, I I discovered something powerful. The deeper meaning you're searching for is already within you. The problem is, most people are never taught how to access it. That's why I'm dedicating my life to help others reconnect with their true self, to understand what life is really about, break free from limitations, and master their energy. My name is Ellislhernandez, and my journey began with a powerful awakening after a long period of depression and disconnection. And since then, I spent years diving deep into spirituality, science, philosophy, and energetic mastery. Through practices like meditation, yoga, qigong, holistic health, and a lot more, I've learned how to activate my energy, live in effortless flow, and follow my true passion. Now, I help others do the same. I work with people who are ready to break through, align their soul's purpose, and step into the most vibrant, awakened version of themselves. If that's you, I offer personalized one-on-one coaching to guide and accelerate your transformation. I also offer online courses designed to unlock your potential. And I have a YouTube channel filled with powerful insights to guide your journey. You don't have to stay stuck, and you don't have to keep searching. The path is already unfolding. Are you ready to step into the life you are meant to live and master your own energy? Click below to begin the journey today.